What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than Uranus on a pull-out game and tell you some stories from classic mythology and folklore. Sitting with us today, we have from the Chewed Up and Spit Out podcast, still Jeff in the house.
Hey, everybody, it's still Jeff. Oh, no applause necessary. I just can see the scorn in Kim's eyes right now. Like, fucking A, we let anyone on this goddamn podcast now?
Jesus, I thought we were a classy establishment.
I did. It's okay, though.
Tonight, Kimbo's telling us the story of the Devils Breeches, all the way from Italy.
Yeah.
Some little Italian folklore. So go ahead and take it away there for us, Kimbo.
All right, I'm just gonna jump into this one. It kind of right off the bat got me. All right. So it goes. A man had a son who was the most handsomest boy you had ever saw. The father fell ill and sent for his son and said, "Sandrino, my final hour has come.
Sandrino,
please behave and hold on to what little bit I'm leaving you." And then he died.
Well, the cadence was going pretty well there, but he died. Damn.
I know. Right after he said it, it must have. I mean, it was pretty. That's how the story went. And then he died.
Okay.
We all saw that one coming.
But instead of working and holding to his inheritance, the son had a grand fling and in less than a year found himself penniless.
Oops.
So he went to the king of the city. Apparently each city has a king. There's no mayor. They're kings.
Yep. Good old days. Everybody was a king.
And he asked the king to be taken into service. Seeing what a handsome young man he was, the king engaged him as a footman. But the minute the queen saw the youth, she took such a fancy to him that she insisted he be her personal footman.
I want to fuck that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Looking for a new occupation here, actually. You know?
Yeah. I'm picturing some, like, lawnmower man style shit. Like, he's out there just doing the chores.
You know,
big, sexy, but he's super slow, and she's just watching him just glisten in the sun. Like,
if you're going in for real world, you're looking at trying to hit on fucking Queen Elizabeth.
Well,
I would take one for the team. I would bang Queen Elizabeth.
She is a classy lady.
She is, yeah, but she gets freaky.
Massage the foot, chew off the nails, smile.
I guarantee Lizzie gets freaky. You know what I mean? She was young during the 60s. She knows shit that I'm scared to do. Yeah.
Anal.
Have you ever had a royal pudding? It's delicious. Let me grab the tapioca. Yeah.
Thanks, Dustin.
All right. Glad to be here today. Keep on going, Kim, please.
Thank you. But when Sandrino realized that the queen was in love with him, he thought, I'd better be off before the king sees what's going on, and resigned.
This shit is getting weird.
I am out, peace, bitch. The king demanded an explanation, but Sandrino would only say that it was for urgent personal business, and departed. He reached another city, and again asked the king there to be taken into service. Seeing what a tall, handsome youth Sandrino was, the king agreed right away. And when the king's daughter discovered him, she fell in love with him and was blind to all else around her. Sandrino was forced to resign before things got out of hand. And when the king, who did not notice a thing, requested an explanation for the departure, Sandrino stated that it was for personal business, and the king inquired no more.
I got a thing not fucking your daughter in this other town. I gotta go do.
I barely escaped the queen from the last one.
Holy fuck, like exit stage left. I'll take this right now, call it good.
I still like to think that he's super slow too, but he's just one of those like lawnmower man style,
Do you think Kit Harington
big,
had
sexy,
this problem
but kind of
if
slow?
He was just fucking doing that shit?
Well, I better go. They saw my monster dong again.
Oh, jeez. But I do recognize that, Kim. Like, Kit Harington probably had like one of those, all right, you married a Weldon, you have to marry her in real life right now,
No, they just naturally fell in love. It was a really cute story.
Sure. That's a fake story. You know what the true story is. He just wanted to kiss her down there.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a little jelly.
She's kissed by fire, and she's a
that's my
wild
one.
Yeah,
That's my one.
that's my one. Shit. No. Kit Harington,
Bullhit.
if you guys are listening, we're totally open to some swinger shit, but only with you guys. Just saying it. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, his wife is pretty hot.
I would totally kiss her there.
I would kiss her by fire all day long.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I lost my place, but that's okay. Sandrino then went to work for a prince, but his wife fell in love with him, and so he left that place as well. He tried working for 6 or 7 other masters, but every time some lady fell in love with him, and he would have to leave. The poor youth began to curse his good looks, and ended up saying that he would give his soul to the devil just to be rid of them. No sooner had he made that statement than a young nobleman stood before him and asked Sandrino, "Why are you complaining so?" And Sandrino told him the reason. The nobleman said, "Listen, I'm going to give you this pair of breeches. Be sure to wear them all the time."
It totally is. He just has a huge dong. His pants were super tight. The guy just gave him loose-fitting pants. He's like, "I see where your problem comes from. Let me give you looser pants." Just this big bulge just in his tight Levi's. Like, "I don't know why all the ladies keep falling for me."
80 squares per meter will get you this spandex style.
Yeah.
Oh, he continues to say, "And never take them off. I'll return for them in exactly 7 years.
Jesus, those are going to be some stank.
Meanwhile, you must never wash so much as your face, and never trim your hair, your beard, your fingernails, or toenails. But you can do anything else you want and be fully satisfied."
Okay.
And at that, the nobleman vanished, and the town clock struck 12 midnight. Sandrino slipped into the breeches and threw himself upon the ground to sleep. He woke up at the daybreak and rubbed his eyes, and immediately remembered the breeches and what the devil had told him. Rising to his feet, he felt the breeches weighing on him, and he took a few steps and heard the jingles of coin.
They're fucking amber-pants.
His pants pockets were full of gold pieces.
Solidified. This is like petrification, basically.
And the more coin he removed, the more it came spilling out. He went to a city, stopped in an inn, and rented the finest room they had. All day long, he did nothing but pull money out of his breeches and pile it up.
That's not money.
Yeah, he's pulling something out of those breeches.
For every service rendered to him, he gave a gold coin. For every poor man who stretched out his hand, he also received a gold coin.
And he's from the poor. Best day ever.
And so there was always a long line of men out of his door.
Oh, damn, Sandrino. Buddy.
One day, he asked a manservant at the inn,
"Would you know if there's a palace for sale?"
The manservant mentioned one right across from the king's, but no one can afford it. Sandrino smiles and says,
"See to its purchase for me, and I will pay you for your pains."
So the manservant got busy and arranged for the sale of the palace to Sandrino. Sandrino had the palace completely refurnished and all the rooms on the ground floor lined with iron and the entrances walled up. Closed up inside the palace, he spent his days piling up money. When one room was full, he would move on to the next, and that way he filled up all the rooms on the ground floor.
Jesus, bro.
Nearly 7 years go by, and his hair and his beard had gotten so long that you could no longer recognize him. His fingernails were also super long, and his toenails had grown to such length that he had to wear sandals. A crust had formed on his skin an inch thick, and in short, he no longer looked like a man, but an animal. To keep his breeches clean, he would cover them in white lead or with baking flour.
He's got lead poisoning, too.
Probably.
The cold keeps coming out of these breeches. No, it's Sandrino, you're not well. But I feel so good.
The lead comes back around again. It's a letter, not a leader.
Wait. You son of a bitch.
Well, nice to know I'm here.
During Sandrino's residency, the king across the street had waged war with another neighboring kingdom and urgently needed money to continue the fight. One day, the king sent for his steward, who'd asked what the king needed. Sorry. So the servant asked the king what he needed, and the king said,
"We're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. I've no more money to continue the war. Any suggestions, you son of a bitch?"
The servant says, "Your Majesty, there is a gentleman across the street who has more money than he knows what to do with. I can ask him for a loan of 50 million. The worst he can do is say no." And the king agreed. And the servant went to Sandrino on the king's behalf. He bowed and scraped before him and explained his mission. Sandrino told him,
"Tell his majesty that I am in his service on one condition, that he give me one of his 3 daughters to put my monster dong inside of.
Wow.
I don't care which one. Sandrino isn't Becky."
Wow. The servant bowed and quickly said, "I will relay the message." Sandrino quickly added, I didn't write it down for you.
Line! What's the line? Give me a line, Jesus.
Oh, shit. It's a long one. I'm so sorry.
I will expect an answer in 3 days. Otherwise, I'll consider myself released from all obligations.
Upon learning what strings were attached, the king exclaimed,
"Oh me, oh my. There's no telling what my daughters will say when they see the size of this guy's dong and what he looks like. He's more animal than man at this point. You might have at least asked for a portrait to prepare the girls for their inevitable shock."
That's like turning a haiku into a fucking novel right there.
The servant bowed and said, "I'll go and ask for one." And when Sandrino was informed of the king's request, he called in a painter, had his portrait done, and sent to the king. Beholding the brute, the king took a step back and cried,
"Could one of my daughters handle this much dong? I mean, a face like this. It is a fucking monster thing. He needs it sometimes."
What the fuck? Just to see her reaction, he called in his oldest daughter and put the matter before her. The girl flatly rebelled, saying, "You are proposing such things to me? Does he strike you as a man that a maiden could possibly marry?" And with that said, she turns her back on the king and walked away. The king sank into his black armchair that he reserved for his bad days and sat there completely disheartened. The next day he took heart again and sent for his middle daughter, but he was prepared for the worst, and the girl came in and made her the same speech to her as the first daughter. The king tried to make her understand that the welfare of the kingdom depended on her, and she replied,
"Well, father, let me see the photo."
And for her curiosity was piqued. The king handed her the portrait, but the minute she saw it, she hurled it away as if she had accidentally picked up a snake. Mortified, she yells at,
OMG, I would fucking never have dreamed that you were capable of giving your fucking daughter to a monster like that, you sick son of a bitch.
Okay, so she just got into her teenage juice, basically.
Now I know just how much you love me. That's why I want to go live with Mom.
God, it sounds like me.
And with that said, she stormed off, indignant and grumbling. The king sighs to himself and says,
"Well, that's that. We are headed for destruction for sure. those two make such a fuss, I can just imagine how the youngest will react. After all, she is the prettiest among them, a spitting image of her mother, that cunt that left us.
He sank into his black armchair and gave the orders not to be disturbed for the rest of the day. He failed to show up for dinner, but his daughters didn't inquire on what was the matter. Only the youngest girl, without a word, slipped out of her dining hall and went to find her father. She tried to get him to go eat, but he wouldn't budge. And she said,
I'm far too stern and deep and dark for that.
Deep in the mud.
I must sit here and brood.
and she said,
But why are you so sad, Papa? Come on, get out of that chair. Cheer up, or I'll break down and cry too.
and she begged and pleaded to know what the matter was. Then the king told her, and she said,
Really? Show me the portrait then. Come on, let's see it.
and the king pulled the portrait out of a drawer and handed it to her.
It was a reprint.
Zosa, as they called her, studied it from every angle and said,
Look, Father, do you see what a beautiful forehead is hidden under this long hair? True, his skin is black, but if he washes, he will be something else entirely. Do you see how beautiful his hands would be, if it not for those awful fingernails, and his feet too? And all the rest. Cheer up, Father. I will marry him myself.
Said his daughter.
Are you sure? I mean, that thing is fucking huge. It will tear you in half, young one.
Brave soul. Brave soul.
Brave soul.
The king took Zosa into his arms and kissed her again and again. And then he called his servant and sent him to inform Sandrino that his youngest daughter was willing to marry him. As soon as Sandrino heard it, he said, after hitting the bong,
Fine! We agree. Please tell His Majesty that he can have 50 million, or better still. Come get the money at once, bitch. Fill up a little bag for yourself, too. Since I want to show you my gratitude, tell His Majesty not to worry about providing for the bride. I want to do it myself. Have you seen my monster dong?
when the two eldest sisters heard about Zosa's betrothal, they began teasing her, but she paid no attention and let them have their fun. The servant went to collect the money, and Sandrino filled up a big bag of gold pieces for him and showed him a giant cart of gold that was for the king. The servant thanks him for his own bag of gold and gasps at the giant cart of gold, then says, I must now count them, because I have the impression that there is more money here than the sum agreed upon. And Sandrino shrugs and says,
It makes no difference if we go over. I don't count past 5 anyway. Sandrino made a poopy.
Then Sandrino put an order into all the jewelers in town for the finest earrings, necklaces, bracelets, brooches, and rings with diamonds as big as plums.
Plums.
And figs.
Oh, and figs.
And hazelnuts.
And hazelnuts. Very specific 3 different
Wide
sizes
variety
of
of plums
diamonds.
there and
Yeah.
hazelnuts like fucking figs, right? They're
I feel
different.
like when this
Yeah.
author wrote this, he was like thinking about the
I feel like he was fucking
he wanted
hungry.
to eat.
He had the munchies.
Exactly.
He was just as high as we are.
Wife,
Fucking
give me a
sad.
charcuterie plate right now.
Yeah, he had those figs, and he had those fucking. Yeah, I haven't had a plum in a while. Oh,
Goddamn, we got me. Shit, does like a fucking DoorDash do that right now? Seriously.
We'll make
DoorDash,
Thanksgiving.
bring me some plums
and figs.
and figs, freshest figs, Mediterranean.
All right. He arranged the jewelry on a silver tray, and 4 of his valets presented them to his bride-to-be. Sorry. The king was overjoyed, and the young bride spent hours on end trying the jewels. While her sisters filled with envy and said to Zosa,
sure, he's got like a big dong and all that and tons of money, and that's all cool and whatnot, but I mean, he is still beat up as fuck. He is bath, girl. You need to stay away from that shit. If only he had better looks.
Or at least read
Sorry,
books.
I ad-libbed a little bit there.
You did. I was like, are you
Yeah.
going to say the line or not?
Yeah, I pretty much did. I mean, everything would be perfect if only he had better looks. Sure, he's got a big dong and tons of money, but...
So, Zosa just smiles at them and says,
Just so long as he is kind, I am quite satisfied.
Just as long as he goes easy with that thing.
Meanwhile, Sandrino sent for the finest dressmakers, hatters, shoemakers, and seamstresses. He ordered everything for the wedding and told them all that it needed to be ready in the fourth night. So, wedding cakes, everything. Presents, jewels, whatever.
Chastity
Everything.
belts.
I want it all in a fourth.
No need for a
fourth night.
chastity belt if you're getting married.
Ah.
You're going to
Oh,
break
man.
that shit on that night.
His dong sounded pretty scary, so
Yeah.
I'm just concerned,
Hold
you know?
up.
I'm just concerned, you know?
Maybe it's like a lock and key situation.
I did
Yeah.
say nearly 7
They get
years
together
have
and he's
gone
like,
by.
I'm sorry it's so big. And she's like, it's okay. I don't have internal organs. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Probably.
Yeah. My stomach and intestines are all in my chest.
I'll
It's
close my eyes and
totally
pretend I did
fine.
not hear that.
Don't picture it, but picture it.
All right. So money talks and everything was ready. There were gowns as sheer as air, embroidered to the knees.
They got Ed Sheeran to perform at the wedding.
There were petticoats trimmed with the yards of damask, handkerchiefs so full of embroidery that there was no place to blow your nose. So many dresses of many different colored silks, paired with gold and silver brocades, with blue and red velvets.
Fucking fancy.
Then, the evening before the wedding, Sandrino had 4 bathtubs filled with hot and cold water. When they were full, he jumped into one with the hottest water and soaked until the layers of filth on him loosened.
I don't feel the pain like normal people do.
Then he jumped into another hot water tub and proceeded to scrub. The dirt peeled off like chips from a carpenter's plane. And when the heaviest layers of dirt were gone, he jumped into another tub, but this one was full of perfume water.
Fancy.
There,
I got rose water.
Perfume.
Perfume.
Parfum. There, he lathered until his beautiful skin of the former times was recognizable. Then he jumped into the last tub filled with cologne water and lingered for some time before rinsing off.
Wait, clone water? Like
Cologne.
I thought you said
Sorry.
clone water.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I just
it
pictured
made
like
two
one
of
of
them.
those goo vats that clones come out of in sci-fi movies. Just soak it in a
Exactly.
goo vat.
Just a little bit worried there for a second, but either which way, I get it.
It would have made sense
Sorry.
if he was a clone. Yeah.
And then Sandrino yelled,
Send for the barber at once.
and the barber came and sheared him like a sheep. He applied curling irons and pomades and finally cut his toes and fingernails. The next morning, when he stepped out from his carriage to fetch his bride, the sisters were looking out the window and expecting to see a monster, yet they found themselves face to face with a handsome young man. They thought,
OMG, who the fuck could that be? Probably someone sent by the bridegroom. Oh, I am so DTF right now.
Bum, 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 bum,
Oh,
bum, bum, bum,
he was
bum,
probably
bum,
sent to avoid appearing in person because he's a gritty, ugly fuck.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's all I got. Let's all
join
take
you
a
on that
moment
one.
to take a little.
even Zosa thought that this was one of Sandrino's friends and got into the carriage. Upon arriving at the palace, Zosa said,
And where is the bridegroom?
Sandrino pointed at the beastly portrait Zosa had in her hand and told her,
Look carefully at those eyes. Look at this mouth hole. Look at the outline of the giant dong in my pants. Don't you recognize me? Oh?
Wait, you've never been here before.
No one has this thing.
Zosa went wild with joy and asked,
But how did you ever sink to such a state?
and Sandrino just smiled at her and then said,
I totally forgot.
Wow. Upon learning Sandrino was really a super handsome guy, the sisters were consumed with envy. Throughout the wedding banquet, they would glare at the happy couple and whisper to one another, saying,
I would totally, blow the devil for the sake of seeing their happiness end. Just fuck them, fuck everything about them. Their happiness makes me an angrier person.
Now, that very day, the 7 years set by the devil were up, and he was expected at midnight to reclaim his breeches. At 11 o'clock, Sandrino bid all of his guests a good night, and he wished to be alone. He told Zosa,
We all have that right.
Dear wife, go to the bed. I will come in later and sneak up on you.
Zosa wondered what in the world is in his mind, and still, assisted by her maids of honor, she undressed and went to bed. Sandrino bundled up the Devil's Breeches and sat there waiting for him. The servants had been sent off to bed, and he was alone. And suddenly, he had goosebumps and thought his heart would come out of his mouth. The clock struck midnight,
so scared.
and suddenly the nobleman appeared before him, and the devil said,
After smoking so much weed, I ought to take your soul now.
and Sandrino shuddered. The devil continued to say,
But since you are responsible for finding me 2 other souls, I'll take those 2 instead of yours and leave you in peace.
And the next morning, Sandrino was sleeping peacefully beside his wife when the king came in to greet them and inquire if Zosa knew anything about her sisters who had disappeared. They all went to her sisters' bedrooms, but they were empty. On the table was a note that said,
I totally fucking hate you for this. I mean, I swear to God, I knew from the second we met you this was going to happen. May you be cursed. We are now damned because of you. And the devil is totally going to have his way with us. Because I totally kind of egged him on. I was like, yeah, I'll go out with you. But I don't know if that means anything. But now he's like, okay, we're a thing now.
Says the devil.
Don't you hear his fucking evil laughter? I'm going to have to literally live with that for eternity. Thanks. And I mean that thanks in a facetious kind of way. Thanks, not actually genuinely thank you. Sandrino.
and then Sandrino realized who the 2 souls were that the devil had taken in his place.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The end.
I think I peed myself.
That's it, bro.
That is
Ha
it.
ha ha ha. Nice job, Kim.
Yes. Good
Thank you.
story. Let's hit some. What does the crowd think about that? It seems they love it. Our sources for this, our resources, were Italian folklores. Italian folktales, a book by Italo Calvino. We're going back to Italo Calvino.
Well
He's
said on
my
the
main
name.
man. I like that name.
Me too.
Yeah.
I got props for it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I hope everyone enjoyed this Saturday short. We're trying a new thing. So if you dig this style, a little more voice acting with a little more guests.
Just having some fun, guys. Come on. We're here to have comedy. We're here to have fun.
Let us know. Let us know in the comments. You can find us everywhere, Spotify, YouTube, any of the podcasting sites. You can Google us now. Google High Mythology Podcast, bitches, and you
Just
can
keep
find
it in
it.
your
Pretty
hands.
much the first thing that pops up.
Yeah. As always, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Give us feedback. Let us know what you think. Let us
Tell
know
us.
what you want us to do.
Do you want me to go back to Russia? Do you want me to go back to Greece? Do you want me to go to Rome? Where do you want me to go? I got some African books
I
coming
mean, we've
in.
got
I'm
tons
excited
of
for
stuff.
that.
We've got tons of stuff. So don't worry. We'll still have stories. But
We're going to Mexico next.
oh, Mexico. Oh, shit. I'm going to pre-apologize if anyone is offended by any of the voices I do when we go to Mexico.
Yeah, please forgive him. He's from Texas.
I have a horrible time speaking Spanish, so you're going to get a lot of
Valgame
horrible
Dios.
things. Valgame Dios, mi amigos.
And I'll say from Still Jeff, I put up with Just Dusty for a long ass time now.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it doesn't get any old after this, all right? Keep on fucking saying what's up to him.
Yeah. And
Shit.
thank you. Thank you, Jeff, Still Jeff, coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for having me here. Like Miss Nice Lady Kim, as always, your storytelling skills are getting better and better and better.
Thank you.
if you like that sultry, sexy voice that he provided, you can hear me and Still Jeff talk about some restaurant stuff
Mm-hmm.
in our podcast, Chewed Up and Spit Out.
That's a
Also
good
available on everywhere you get podcasts except for iTunes.
Dude, yeah, you guys talk about like the real kitchen, what really fucking happens.
Yeah, some real shit.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, it's coming from the trenches.
But we have
all
fun
right?
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we have fun with it.
Yeah,
The trenches
I enjoy
built
listening
us.
to them.
Yeah. It's dark humor, but it's humor. Yeah.
Hey, about the comedies, all right?
That's the
Yeah.
best kind of humor.
Well, folks, as always, we love you.
Thanks
Good
again.
night.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Hey,
for listening.
Thanks for having me. Fine job again, Kim and Dusty, with your high mythologies.
Yes. Fine
you.
job, Jeff. Thank you for being on. Let's do it.
Ooh, ba ba ba, chupa, chupa, da, bo, da.